Nihanyang, hello, I am the Dark Fae, and welcome back to Confessions of a First Time Dungeon Master. So we just did session 9, and session 10 is where we started doing online sessions. Our next session is also online, which is tomorrow, but probably not when I upload this, but let's get into it. Okay, so at the end of session 9, which I actually just filmed, they kind of ended up in like two different spots. So the party is a little bit split at this moment. So there's the 5 of them: Umric, Tyrell, Morgul, Ivar 71, and sorry, not Tyrell. Umric, Valhyri, Basil, Ivar 71, and Morgul. They're together with Fernay, having just escaped from the warehouse where alarms were happening. And then Tyrell is kind of on his own at Fernay's shop. So basically, at Tyrell's side, Cathan Ilias, who is Fernay's wizard friend, he kind of let Tyrell into the shop, into the back room, to rest and to see if he needed any medical attention, but they ended up kind of waiting for the rest of the party to get here before doing anything. So the rest of the party, Fernay, I was kind of prepared for a couple of things, because they mentioned how at the end of the session, like how she knew that like this magical alert would happen, or like it was Fernay's fault telling us to go back, which it kind of was. Like part of it was me as a DM like wanting them to go back and face that encounter, and also avoid just like a whole lot of like party separation, and then them going like traveling for miles and miles, potentially days, and then that kind of becoming a thing that like they weren't, not that they weren't ready for it, but like would kind of be awkward with the fact that we had to split at the last moment. So I thought that they might try to like hash it out with her a little bit, but at the start of the session they seemed like pretty okay with it. I think they kind of respect her now as like a kind of like a crime lord, crime boss. She's not really a crime lord, a crime boss, but like she has a habit of knowing things and like garnering favors with people, so she has a lot of pull in the keep, so she has a lot of work for them. So anyways, they start with Fernay like telling them that they should report this to the castle guard. And I had planned a kind of like a dialogue between Fernay and Captain Levis, but like maybe it was because it was online, but it just felt a little awkward for me to be like conversing with myself. That also just might be my inexperience as a DM. My like NPCs haven't really interacted a whole lot, or at least to the point where I like really have roleplayed it. So I had like a little dialogue between the two. I wrote a little bit of it out so I wouldn't forget if there are any key points. But basically, Levis being frustrated, like I thought we agreed, Fernay, not to act on this until the Viscount, and Fernay being like, that's what you agreed to do, but don't want to wait for the silly Viscount and his council of school children, stuff like that. So they kind of have a banter back and forth. Started feeling a little bit awkward, so I kind of ended up like just reverting back to like DM narration and like summarizing it, because I didn't want it to go on too long without any input from my players when it wasn't like super compelling, and it was kind of just like a recap of what was going on. So I think it would work better in like certain different times when like something epic maybe is happening. Honestly, the scene that's coming to mind is in Critical Role when Avantika and the Plank King are having their dialogue. No spoilers, but it's a pretty cool scene. But I feel like one of the things I feel like that does keep happening is that like as the party encounters things, or things are happening to them, and then they start coming upon like different people, or like people who aren't in the know, they seem to have to like repeat things a lot, or like to like say what just happened, and I'm trying to like avoid that, but also trying to figure out a way of that to like, I guess I could expedite it where it's like, oh, you tell them everything that just happened and catch them up to speed, blah, blah, blah. But it just seems to happen quite a bit. And I think I need to be a bit faster on like how they should relay that information maybe. I did kind of expect them to maybe jump in or add to what Fairnay was saying when they were talking to the captain, but they didn't, so it just kind of ended up being a dialogue between two NPCs, and so I kind of had to speed that along. But that ended with Captain Levis kind of like mobilizing his men to go check out the warehouse, since Fairnay mentioned that they tripped the alert, which might be a link to the hollows of Malgur, the tunnels beneath the blood lakes that have all the monsters. So the castle guard was kind of like taking care of that. So then they went back to Fairnay's shop, met back up with Tyrell, exchanged kind of their stories and what happened. Although I kind of did that at the recap, so they didn't have to go into as much detail. But anyway, so they have this sample of mushroom, and I have never like written out the details of like a fungus like so much, but because I made a disease for it, I've made like uses for the mushroom in its like inert state when it's growing, and like its spores, and it's actually a different form of mushroom than its original like predecessor. It's like a mutated form. But anyways, fantastical herbology and like botanical stuff is really fun. Like coming up with like names for plants and like what they do and like where they grow and what their effects are and all of that, and like what they look like even. It's just really cool. There are so many different kinds. I already came up with like, this is mostly prep for the next session, but since they are going into the swamp, but I'll get into that later. But it's like you can be so creative with just one small thing with like a mushroom. And there's like, some are poisonous, some can help you sleep, some can explode, some are poisonous. Did I say that already? I probably did, but there's just a lot of different varieties you can put out there, and it's really interesting that you can make them like magical or not, and like think of like interesting potions or like elixirs that they could be ingredients in. I don't know, it was like an unexpected source of fun. It's almost like making monsters, but you're making plants. So anyways, so they decide to then, what do they decide to do? No, before they decide to do anything, Fairnay offers them rewards in return for their service. Is kind of her method. She takes favors to people, offers favors to people. In this case, I gave them a couple different choices of reward, and I meant this to be kind of difficult or like pretty even. So the first option, potion of healing, like a chance to use like these kind of altered like masks of disguise. Basically, the mask would alter your actual body's like form, so it's not like an illusion where, say you're like 4 foot but your illusion is 6 foot, then that like 2 feet of height isn't just like illusory, it's an actual form that holds up to physical checks, but only when you're wearing the mask. They have to be inscribed with the name of the person who is undergoing the disguise, as well as the form that you want to be disguised into. So that's why they haven't been able to attune and use them yet. And only like a mage user or a wizard is able to do it. They have a wizard in their group, but they don't know how. So there was, potion of healing, inscription of the masks, and there's one other thing in that pile. I think one of the silver daggers, and then that she received from Narmond. So that's one pile. And then the other pile was a spell scroll of level 2 or lower. I offered level 2. on like the private, like, what is the word? It's late and I can't think. I offered a level 2 scroll on the condition that it not be a ritual spell. So I let the wizard choose, since it would be a spell for his spellbook. Since Cathan is there, there is like a plethora of spells to choose from. So the scroll and then one of the special elixirs from the crate that she got from the apothecary, so which was either an oil of slipperiness or a filter of love, so they could let them choose between the two. That was the second pile. Third reward choice was an assassination at any point in time, because she's sneaky like that. And then the last was a diamond, since one of the members requested it, Valkyrie, although she later found out that as a druid she doesn't actually have the revivify spell, so she ended up not being able to take it because she wanted it the most. We do have a cleric, but he's a death cleric and kind of refuses to raise anyone from the dead unless it's as a skeleton or zombie. So we'll see how that turns out, especially because the original potential encounters I had planned in the swamp might involve death. So I offered them the diamond that they needed for the somatic component or material component. They didn't take it. We'll see what happens. So they took some time to decide. They ended up taking the scroll and the, I think, oil of slipperiness? Yeah, I should probably be better about tracking what items they have, huh? Yeah, okay. So, after that, they had a couple of things planned the next day. So they took a long rest. Tyrell got his point of exhaustion removed from completing said long rest. And then they had a couple of things they wanted to do. They wanted to go to Mistgor's. Mistgor's first? Yeah, Mistgor's, and then also Liddy's, and then back to Fernay's to get the reward. So Fernay had mentioned to them that to see her early in the morning if they wanted their stuff, because she had to leave on business. So she, I guess, it's kind of spoilers, but it's not really that bad for my players if they see this, but she's actually going to Prill to kind of deal with a council, basically to see whether or not the country of Prill, specifically I think the city of Romir, is going to go to war with Wolishk, because Wolishk has been mobilizing against them, and that's why they're in the keep. So she has to go and see if to either start or stop a potential war, and kind of figure out how to retaliate in a subterfuge kind of way, probably, since they are followers of Zenaria. So that's kind of her business. There was like a potential quest line too for the party to investigate the tunnels on their own. I didn't really end up getting to present that, and they didn't really say anything about wanting to go back in the tunnels. So I kind of just rolled with it instead of presenting like yet another choice for them. Because the path that they were going by investigating Mistgor's leads them out of the keep into the Wacancel marshes, which is I'm totally fine with because that's really fun. But like, I feel like that option for them to investigate the tunnels, like it was there, or it was something that they could have done if they really wanted to or felt strongly about it, like, hey, I want these tunnels go somewhere, I want to see where they go. But no one did, and they seemed pretty caught up with what was going on with the mushrooms. So I kind of just rolled with it. Even though I don't think that quest will be available when they get back, given how much time it'll take them to go to the marshes and for Ferne to come back, and the castle guard can kind of help to figure it out. So I think it ended up the way I wanted to. Not sure if I feel bad about like not giving them that other choice, but like they seemed pretty into it. So I didn't really feel the need to be like, oh hey, here's another choice you guys can do. Anyways, so they went back to Miss Gore's for a third time. Because I think with Teyrall's kind of assessment of the situation, they thought he'd be dead in the morning. He's not dead. He's still in that, like, catatonic state. Which is funny because our cleric tries to speak with dead, and he's not dead. So, or that was their plan. So then they decide to take him and like holding their breath so they don't breathe in the spores, which is smart. So they decide to take Miss Gore and they want to bring him to Liddy. So they're like carrying this catatonic man out of a mushroom-filled room that's covered in spores, telling the person who's working downstairs that the apartment's infected, but don't panic, just call the castle guard. And so, a couple guards do stop them, like, what are you doing with this man? And they explain it all. And so they rolled pretty good persuasion, so castle guard goes off. And then they get to Liddy's, kind of explain everything again. This is what I mean by explaining things over and over again to new people who are like, why are you carrying a potential dead person, like, through the town? But anyways, so they carry the body to Liddy Germains, who is the apothecary, the owner of the Elixirium Magisterium. And she, what does she tell them? She tells them that, like, this mushroom, like, based on its, I don't know, mushroominess, it's probably something that thrives in, like, darker, damper environments, and that it would most likely be found in the marshes. I figure as an herbologist and, like, an apothecary who is familiar with lots of exotic plants, she would be able to determine that and give them direction. So, that is what she gave them. They eventually carry the body to the Castle Guard headquarters, and basically the quest that they get is to find out where this, like, poison mushroom kind of plot, like, is coming from, and to, like, put an end to it, basically, in the marshes. So, they hand over the body, and the castle guard takes it to the Church of Trin to kind of take care of, or treat, or something, because they don't know, nobody knows what this disease or condition or poison is. I do, and I kind of need to figure out what the counter agent could be for now. But yes, so because he's not dead, I can't really gentle repose him. So maybe I can do some D&D homebrew, religion-y, arcane-y magic stuff. We'll see. But yeah, they carry him to the Church of Trin, where he is now resting. I gotta figure out his saving throw dealio, because he might burst into spores at any moment in time, but, you know, that's life. And, yeah, that's actually kind of where we left off. This is a shorter episode, even though I've been talking for so long. But, yeah, so they get this quest. I think I said it was 420 gold, which is 70 gold apiece, to go to the marshes and like figure out where this trail of poisonous substance mushroom, that was the wrong order, the poisonous mushroom substance, is coming from, and to put a stop to it. So I've been preparing a lot of like swampy things, like a lot of magical herbology and swamp things for them to encounter, so I'm pretty excited about that, and I already know what the end kind of big bad of this quest is. And that'll be interesting. Again, I'm not very good at scaling encounters, clearly, so we'll see how that turns out, but I don't think they'll get to the big bad of this quest in one session. They potentially could if they skip over all of like the stuff in the middle that I have planned in case. But we'll see. So yeah, that was session 10. I left it kind of with them giving them the option that like if there's any shopping or prep that they wanted to do, we could kind of do it over chat or something, since I don't think that really requires too much roleplay, and they can just like tell me what they want to buy or what if there's like any thing in particular that they want to prep or talk to, or anyone to talk to in the meantime, so that way we can start the next session rolling. But I don't know if that's gonna happen since it's already the eve before. I just said the word eve. Yeah, all right, that's enough for this episode. Thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying this and following along with my DM campaign. These videos I feel like really are helping. They kind of help me, even though I don't film them in a very timely fashion. God, I can't talk. But they kind of help me get my thoughts in order and just kind of let me reflect on my sessions in a way that's not just like in my own head. I think it's helpful for me to actually get them out in the open. So thanks for watching, and I gotta go prep, so I'll see you guys next time. Bye.